We're live. Welcome to the Bardic Inspiration Podcast. I'm your host, B-Rad. That boy is joining me on the show today. It's Matthew Ford. All of y'all that know from Reading High School, the legend, my best friend from high school, Matthew Ford. What's good, baby?
Not much.
Yo, I just wanted to preface this by saying, like, the early years of my life were highly influenced by how rad I found you, and like that made me want to be rad.
That first wall flip.
Yo, exactly, bro. Like, I remember like the first time I met you. Like, yeah, so like you were doing backflips in a JROTC gym. I'm like, this motherfucker's like goddamn Spider-Man. And all I had been doing was playing Spider-Man video games, so I didn't know that you could actually do that shit. And then he did it, and I'm like, we gonna change the game now. And then
as unimpressive as most people would find it, I think back in our early days of knowing each other, we thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So
hell yeah, I still think it is. This episode sponsored by Matt bringing the yings out, and these are following some wings that he brought. But yeah, man. So. Man, where to even begin? Because you were in the band, the climbing, which is the reason that this bus exists in the first place in the state that it does.
Yeah. There was the idea to hopefully tour in a bus.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't surface.
For
at least for the climbing, it didn't surface.
Exactly. Trust me, there's some plans in the making to see what happens with. Even if the podcast has to be how I toured the United States in this big ol' hunk of Hulk. But yeah, man, it's a good time, man. Did you see my business card?
I dig it. You did show me this, and I like it. You had asked my opinion before you printed them out.
Yeah. I forgot. I had like a bunch of stuff hung up here, but so actually we're at a new location right now. The bus has been moved from the previous warehouse space that I was in, and is now parked in Adamstown. And I'm not gonna divulge exactly where it is, cause mind your neck, feel me?
Before your neck gets snatched.
Yo, all right, man. So why don't we let's kind of go into like what happened. So like after high school, cause me and you were like we met in high school.
Yeah.
And in high school, we did so much stuff. Like, you were another thing that you inspired me, or like were on the journey with me, was like the musical thing. Mm-hmm. And you were in the first band I was ever in. Awful. But you know what I mean. Like I remember.
Let's not reminisce on that.
Yo, for real. But just like Guitar Hero kind of being like the main influence on that stuff, and just then Rock Band making us go, we can do this in real life. We're playing on expert mode.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Was, some good times with it helped us experience and dive deep into exploring other bands and different genres.
Absolutely, man.
High school, you probably would have said, "I'll never listen to metal."
Yeah,
and
dude.
Look at you now.
I know.
Listen to progressive and stuff that I've played music my entire life, and I've been on a hiatus.
Yeah,
a very long hiatus.
Well, you've been chasing that career, making that bread, man.
It's not even really about the money either. It's just being comfortable. Money can only do so much, and as we get older, I'm slowly learning that the money isn't what makes us happy. Like growing up, in Reading at that, we're less fortunate. We built and raised to think like, oh, money's going to get you where you want, and it's not.
Yeah, growing up in like such a poverty city that Reading is, that's
absolutely.
Like a key thing. Like, oh, this is the main thing that's gonna should be your focus. But honestly, like at the end of the day, I know a lot of people who are really successful in their life defined by their own terms, and they don't have like the 6-figure job or anything. They're just making enough to support their family. And when you're growing up in like a poor city, a lot of times that's what you realize is the most important thing.
That's what success is.
And
it's
somebody's
making sure there's a roof over their head, clothes on their back, and food on the table. That's what matters.
Like, how many stories have you heard of, like, the dad that's chasing, like, the 6-figure job, but he doesn't make the connection with the kid, and then the kid resents him, you know?
Too many times. It's a lot of Hollywood movies are built off of that.
Yeah, man.
You know?
It's an old story. It's constantly retold because of how true it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. So do you want to kind of go? Let's kind of go in like a deep dive. Like, after high school, both of us enlisted for different reasons. Do you kind of want to just dive into, like, where you went after high school and how you became the success that you are now, man?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, you know, we both enlisted. I enlisted in the Marine Corps. I went active duty, infantry. I was on the East Coast for the first 2 years at Marine Barracks in Washington, D.C., and it was an eye-opening experience, you know. You think, when most people, at least when I was younger, you know, you think of the military, you think, you know, the front lines and all that stuff. There's so much stuff that happens here on home base for the support of our family members, and, you know, I think that's a big thing about Veterans Day. It's not just celebrating the veterans, but the families that made that sacrifice also. So the Marine Barracks Washington kind of opened my eyes to, it's more than just the battlefield.
Yeah.
There's a support system for the families as well, and that's kind of what the barracks was. It was the image of the Marine Corps, what the Marine Corps wanted to be, what the Marine Corps is. It's more than just a fighting force. We're human as well.
Yeah, and it's a brotherhood thing too. Yeah,
absolutely.
So you actually down there, I had gotten this wrong actually, and I hope the thumbnail fixes itself. But you were not in the silent drill platoon. You were on, like,
a marching platoon.
Yeah, exactly. So you were actually doing, like, drill stuff, like, and traveling, doing that stuff as well.
Not necessarily traveling. We were I was in a marching platoon at the Arlington Cemetery is where most of my days were.
Yeah.
Down there. You know, again, supporting the families. You know, just, you know, letting them know that we are, you know, the military is still there for them, for that sacrifice that, you know, they've made also. And the second year, I was on the firing party, commonly thought of as the 21 gun salute, which is not. It's the 3 volley salute that the firing party conducts. But, you know, still 21 shots, 7 people.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And again, it was an eye-opening experience. You know, just some high level, you know, figures that were there, and, you know, just, you know, Area 60. You know, that was just really inspiring for me to. It really what helped build me into being a compassionate human being. You know? Like I thought I knew compassion, you know, getting out and joining the military and everything, but, like, this is where I realized, like we're human. It's more than, you know, like there's a human element even to the military. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, that's awesome, man. So you ended up touring as well. You went on a deployment, and I know you ended up in Japan.
Yeah. So
time.
we did.
You brought me home like a sweet bandana. I still got that boy somewhere.
Yeah, I did a deployment, non-combat, more training. So yeah, I went to Japan and, you know, went out to the Westpac.
Yeah,
and it was quite an experience.
You were on a ship, right, the whole time, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was a aircraft carrier.
Kind of. It was more of a vertical lift aircraft.
Oh, VTOL.
So
nice. The Harrier jets, right?
No, I actually I was part of a company that was with the airlift, you know, vertical lift unit, and it was Osprey's majority of the time.
Oh yeah.
So that was cool.
I've never been in one of those.
They are some powerful machines. And when those pilots bank a turn, you feel it. You feel it. You're like, wait, are we upside down? Or what's going on? And you look at the you know, your brother across, and you, like, try to peek out the window.
It's like, are clouds under us right now? Is the sun under us right now? What is happening right here?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Probably, like, and leading up to the deployment, one of my favorite things was the underwater egress training. It was cool. My God. It was so cool.
What did you do for that? Because I did some aquatic combat survival training as well.
So
and that
just for the underwater egress is It was a training in the event that aircraft went down over top of water. And
Okay, it makes
you
sense.
can imagine
yeah.
these machines are heavy, so
You know, one engine goes out.
going underwater, it goes down fast.
Mhm.
Like once it hits water, it's sinking fast. So it's get out. And it was a matter. They put us in different scenarios. A makeshift over a pool, put us under. We had to escape, and the different scenarios, blindfolded.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
It was quite an experience. I actually wanted to do it again, but
Yeah,
I had already passed.
Yeah, that's funny. And you're actually doing some scuba shit now.
Yeah.
I see where that's coming from now.
You know, it's funny. The funniest thing about like my love for the water now, like as a kid, before you and I met, I was terrified of drowning. Like my cousins used to torment me all the time, like to no end. And open water, you know, in the ocean, you know, not just these lakes and stuff. I think out of all my dives, 5 of them were in a lake. And you know, I've been to the Caribbean quite a few times, in Florida, diving down there, and diving with sharks even, which is really cool.
No doubt.
Very beautiful creatures. I like those.
Yeah,
sharks are.
I'll pass on that.
You know, they mind their own business, really.
Yeah,
they really do. Like
sometimes you're in their business, though. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So that's and then you know, after I got out, decided to go into motorsports technology.
Yeah, I remember, like, basically right when you got out of like active duty, we moved in together basically, and then
house.
And
the real party house. I think is it like 11 or 12 of us in that house at one time. I think that was at its peak. It was a lot of us.
Yeah, there was a couple folks living in that place.
and it was accommodating.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't mind it being a party 24/7, it was a nice place to live.
Some people scaling the front of the house even.
Yeah, I won't name names. I think it's probably spelled BRAD on that one though.
And a few visitors at the house tried to do it. We're like, you don't live here. What are you doing?
Yeah, we had the front of the house was like made of rocks, so it was a lot of rock climbing enthusiasts that were around as well. So we did some dumb shit. That's pretty much what that is right there. Nah, man, that's awesome. So yes, you got out and then you got a degree actually in
accounting. So
no, like the motorcycle thing.
Yeah, that was just motorsports technology. So just working, you know, not even really a degree. It was more of like a cert.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I tried it out and it worked out for the summer, and then winter came, and I was just like, "There's no work. There's no work. You can't make a living." And it wasn't about the money. I needed the bare essentials to just get by, and I felt like just that alone wasn't doing it. So you know, I went into retail, and it wasn't bad. I mean, retail is where I learned a lot of my technological. I'm tech savvy because of retail, and I went to Alvernia, studied accounting and economics, and now I am where I am. And you ask me, the high school me, do you think you'd be working with computers and heavily math involved environment? And no, math was probably one of my worst subjects, and now one of my favorites. You know, I do enjoy numbers. Numbers are what they are. What they are. They don't really lie. You know? Unless you get the problem wrong. To that extent, the numbers still aren't wrong. They don't lie,
exactly.
So.
That's really cool, man. So what made you decide to do that? What kind of inspired you after the military to go through all these, like, because that's like two widely different spectrums of, you know, career paths.
Well, I used to ride, and I figured, you know what, like, I need to learn how to fix my own bike and stuff in case something happens. But I knew small things can change the oil, readjust the chain and all that stuff. But I wanted to get, you know, really deep into the woods with it. So I went to school for that. And then after that, you know, I wanted to go to a real school because I learned that, my God, I can't make a living off of this unless I move down south, and especially like out to Arizona or something like that. And then I don't know what sparked the accounting. I guess maybe because at one point in time I did have the ambition to maybe open my own shop. And I knew that you would have to have at least bare bones basic understanding of accounting to run your own business. So I started with business management, and then my first accounting class was like, this is where it's at. This is fun.
Yeah.
Numbers, I don't know what struck me, but it was like, oh, this is fun. I can see myself doing this. Yeah. I found an interest in it, and I just kept going with it. And then it eventually pushed on to economics, because I kind of think economics are relatively common sense if you have the basic understanding.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it led me. That's how it happened, was, the ambition to work on motorcycles, learning like, hey, up here that may not be the thing. Let's keep working on it. Maybe try to open up your own shop and you can move eventually. And then accounting just kind of took over. Yeah,
that's awesome. So like, what would you say to like, any kids like right now, like growing up in like the same situation that you did kind of growing up? Like you were in a pretty unstable, like living situation pretty much in high school generally. And it seemed like, I guess for you, the military was the obvious move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would you tell like a kid like that's looking for advice in that kind of stuff? Because it seems like that was because the military basically enabled you to go to college.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
With the GI Bill and everything.
GI Bill and everything, and they paid for it, and I'm so thankful for it, because I think without that, I probably would have never gone to college.
Yeah,
I think maybe some of my habits prior to high school have changed.
I think, like, I don't know about you, but, like, for me, I can say this for myself. Like, the military gave me the structure, and, obviously they're training you to kill people is, like, the main thing you go to boot camp for, and that's, like, the most discipline that you're going to get out of the whole training ordeal. But that kind of made me passionate about being competent, like, just being a competent man for not just myself or my family, but, like, I want to be a significant person anywhere I go. I want to be a valuable asset,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the military definitely does provide structure. Like, they definitely, like, the purpose boot camp is just to break you down and build you back up, to show you that you are confident. But to go back to your answer for the younger generation right now, it's stay curious. Stay curious. I think I got wrapped up into trying to be the cool guy, and that kind of took away from my academics and my confidence. I was bullied. I was bullied in high school and middle school and stuff, and it is what it is. Look where I'm at now. But had I not worried about my social status in school, I think I probably could have went to college without the military. Not saying that I that's what I wanted, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's a route that you may be unfortunate to not be able to take because of a medical condition or something, just stay curious, worry about your academics and knowledge, like curiosity is best friend of knowledge, like human race isn't, we don't know these things that we know now without the curiosity, without wanting to know.
Yeah.
To just look up at the sky and be like, what am I looking at? And they're built with philosophy, and then off of philosophy built, on academia. So.
Yeah, I think like a really powerful thing, like I think me and you both kind of have this thing where we get curious about something and then we can immediately get passionate about it and then chase the shit out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I know recently you just built like an arcade cabinet, and that's like fucking dope because you were just like, oh shit, this is possible? Oh shit, I could customize it to the way that I want it done.
Yeah.
And even like with this podcast, I'm like, oh man, all I need is like this, that, and the other thing, and then I can turn this little like space into a studio.
Yeah.
To record like this. It's crazy.
And a lot of people think you need all this money to be able to do these things, and just getting curious, and that was another thing, like the military, make do with what you have. You know,
100%, bro.
Like
Be a professional
man's
homeless
trash is
man.
your treasure, you know, like you
try
can
to be a
repurpose
professional homeless dude in
anything,
there.
You know? You just be a MacGyver.
Shit in a bag. Oh shit, bro. Oh man. Yo, tell the story about in I think it was MCT where they made you with the Gatorade and a sandwich.
Oh, boot camp. Oh man.
That's such a good story. It's my favorite story from Matt's boot camp.
So, we were long story short, we were definitely wasting one of our drill instructor's time. He was he was fed up with it. He goes, "All right, so you want to waste my time? I'm gonna get my time back." And you know, we got these like little box lunches, and it came with a Gatorade and had like a sandwich.
Jimmy Dean boys.
Not even.
Not even.
Not even. It was the driest hoagie you could get. It was like the most dry, like all bread, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of meat. It's hoagie.
Mostly bread, yeah. 90% bread.
Half a piece of cheese.
And mustard.
Mustard, ketchup, mayo. You got a hard-boiled egg. I think it was chocolate chip cookies and like an apple or something. And let me tell you, so first he was like, "All right, so we're going to do this by the numbers." And he told us to open up the box, open the Gatorade, drink half of the Gatorade. He told us to open the sandwich, you know, rip it into pieces, put it in the Gatorade bottle. Then we had to get the hard-boiled egg and just smush that inside the bottle. And then we had to crumple up the cookie inside of it, put the condiments inside. Told us to close it up, shake it, and then we had like, I want to say 2 minutes to drink it. But, you know, like, they guarantee you a meal. They just don't say how you're going to get the meal. So
I'll drink to that.
Oh,
my God.
It was disgusting, but hey, I got my nutrition for the day, so there was no complaining on that.
Yo, that's like the big thing in the military. Like, take it for better or worse. Like, you suffer together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, embrace the suck.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace the suck.
I remember my drill sergeant said that a million fucking times.
Yeah, that was 9 years ago.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Think about it.
Back,
it's 9 years ago.
Yeah,
actually, a little more than 9 years ago.
Our 10-year anniversary is coming up
very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Getting old sucks.
I know. I miss school, Mom. Oh man. Oh snap. We got a. Yo, what's up, Avocado? We got a comment from the man. Oh snap! What the hell just happened?
What'd you do?
I don't know.
There it is.
It good? All right.
Let's hear it.
Yo, all day, man. Avocado Atrocity is like he's a regular in here.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, my man.
We appreciate you, Avocado Atrocity.
Yo, no doubt. Yo, if you have
What's so atrocious about the avocado?
Yo,
is it about the mass that the pit takes up? It's less avocado you can eat.
I don't know, man. I love avocados.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me none.
They're expensive now.
I'm so, like, that's ridiculous, bro. I remember, like, I don't even be grocery shopping anymore because you spend more money doing that. I just eat out and just strategically find the discounted food. Mo Monday, boy.
I need to do better with lunch at work. You know, bringing my lunch because I do, or breakfast. Lunch, I bring lunch quite often, but breakfast,
I don't even.
I'll eat a bagel at home, and I'll get to work, and I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna just go back down to the calf, get a bacon, egg, and cheese at home fries. And cost too much money, man.
Sounds like a good time to me though.
So good, so good.
What do you so like dieting and stuff, like you said you're not really training as much because I know you had quite a bit of athletic prowess back in the golden days that we were in the band and everything.
23.
Yeah, 23 was
23
the
to
age,
say
man.
maybe 25, 26. And then once that hit, you know, I kind of just
reprioritized.
Yeah, and I wish, I mean, I'm still a part of the gym. I just don't go as often as I'd like. But as far as dieting, you know, it's just, I like meat, and I know that for like the vegetarians and vegans, like that's what you'd like. And everyone has their own reasons. Some are medical. You know, some people I guess are allergic to meat
to the gluten,
and stuff. Yeah, and you know, I can respect it. But I like the meat. I like the meat.
Matt gets riled up about some sausage. Let me tell you.
But definitely, you know, with my fiance, we've been going to Aldi more often. And I like a lot of green vegetables. You know,
leafy boys.
Well, yeah, Brussels asparagus is great. I love asparagus. You know, if you cook it just right,
Shayna knows how to season it.
Yeah, really, all it takes. Like,
I feel like she like asparagus. Like my mom like didn't use asparagus like growing up till like I was like in like coming out of high school. Like that was not a thing. But like all the white people I know, like yo,
oh, let's get racist.
I'm just saying, bro. Like white girls really know how to whip up some asparagus. You know what I mean? Like it's like a Hispanic, it's like a Mexican girl with the rice and beans. Like that's you're getting that premium ish.
Okay.
She knows how to season that asparagus. Is what I'm trying to say.
Now that you bring that up, pastelillo empanada.
Yo, they're pastelillos, bro. Get out of here, empanada. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Well, one of my internships in DC, I learned that in Puerto Rico, there is such a divide on what they call it. Like there are doctorate students, doctoral students trying to earn their doctorate degrees, writing full dissertations on whether it's a pastelillo or an empanada, and I was just mind blown.
Bro,
like,
I've never heard any of my family say empanada, bro. It's a pastelillo, I'm pretty sure,
bro. Yeah, and that's the same thing with my dad. You know, we grew up calling it a pastelillo.
Yo, I was just at a convention yesterday, and we were talking about how there's some people that have their GED in the industry that are incredibly talented, like super intelligent dudes, and then you have people that have their PhD that are like, how does this person have these credentials? Like, because you're an idiot. So maybe those doctor students should chill on writing about those and fucking eat a pastelillo, bro. That's all I'm trying to say, baby.
Yeah. But with the asparagus, it's pretty simple. Olive oil, garlic, salt, pepper, and squeeze some lemon juice on there. Done. Do it on a cast iron stovetop.
All right, man.
Just get it so it's not stiff.
Just right.
Just like the whole pencil wobbly
rubble boy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, man. So that let's going on a tangent here with the food, which is just out of control. So let me see. Do you kind of want to go into like what your kind of like routine is right now, and like how you are maintaining like being a competent adult?
Well, I don't know. It's just
like, how are you making? What's your work-life balance? You know what I mean? Work and rest. You know what I mean? R&R versus grind.
Most of just like anybody's day, most of it's consumed with work.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy my job. Like I said, ask me back then, would I see myself doing what I'm doing? And I'd laugh in your face and say, no, I'm going to be in the Marine Corps for 20 years. And we see how that turned out. By choice. So I think it's a matter of because I enjoy my job, then I come home. I'm fortunate enough where, my fiance is home before me. So she's like already cooking and stuff. So that's one less thing I have to do. But, I do my fair share of things around the house. Both take care of the dogs. I think part of it is my love for the dogs and my fiance. Like I come home, I'm excited to see them. And then we just kind of we hang out, watch some TV. Whenever she's doing her thing and the dogs are just laying around, I'll probably throw on the PlayStation, kick it with some Tekken recently.
Yeah, you've been saying.
I like my Tekken. It's been, I don't know why I waited so long to buy the latest installment. I recently only bought it like 2-3 weeks ago. I don't know why, but and then again, the arcade cabinet, DIY projects, just that ever-growing curiosity of like, what can I do next? What is the next thing I can do with this? Like with my house, like we bought our house, and before even moving in, like we had like a week before we moved in after signing papers, my dad and I went in and started redoing the bathroom. Something I've never done in my entire life. I was just like, all right, Google this. How do I lay down tile, and how do I do the mortar and grout and all that stuff? And all right,
yeah, the internet is
this?
so valuable in that respect, man.
Oh yeah, and I'm like I said, I'm tech savvy. I can get around. I can just get around, you know. But the arcade cabinet, the custom lights that are on, not custom, but the lights that I have on, which are motion censored, which are connected to a relay, which is connected to an Arduino, and then that also controls the TV, and there's a switch that controls that. So depending on which position the switch is, it'll say, all right, the TV's off, but the lights stay on, solid. All right, switch it back on, and then the TV's on with the buttons, and then the lights are flashing whenever you're in front of it. And then if you leave for 2 minutes, then the lights stay off, but the TV and stuff's on. And learning how to read the code, because there was already a code posted, but it didn't work. I was like, oh, I'm just going to copy and paste it, and boom, it's done.
Work, yeah.
It did not work. And I spent before I even built the bones of the cabinet, I spent probably a year just researching. I even took a computer science class that taught basic coding. Not even coding, just the understandings of what like a bit are, and how many bits and everything like that, and how to read binary. And then, you know, I slowly started learning, like, okay, this means this. And then I found a forum, I think it was like a Discord forum on GitHub, and one kid was like, yeah, I'm trying to figure this out too. And there was another person that commented on it, and apparently this had been going on with the source code for 2 years. This code had been just posted without the correct information. So the one kid kind of went in, he was just going through, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to write my own. I'm like, all right, cool. I copied and pasted, it worked. But I didn't like the way that he wrote his. He had his doing different things with his cabinet. So I read his. I read it. And I went back to the other one. I read it. And then one day, I think I was at work, and I was like, duh. The words pull up were the only thing that missing, because it was using an internal resistor versus external. So we just had to type pull up behind one of the strings of text, and it freaking worked. 2 years, like 20-some people couldn't figure out. All we had to write was pull up, and it worked exactly the way that I wanted it to, at least. So
yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
What was the programming language?
I think C++.
All right.
Just, you know, I think a lot of things are using that now. As far as like Arduino, people that are programming on Arduinos.
Yeah, I mean, dude, everything uses everything. You can find an ATM using Python or fucking C#.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that person wants to
a music note.
start
what are you talking about?
It's ridiculous. Yeah, that's fucking crazy though, man. That you're I love how passionate you are about just getting new skills. And I wish more people were like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, man. Like, it's hard to find like-minded people like around the area too, especially. But what do we got here? For me, classes are useless. Always start extremely basic anything. Crawl before you run. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. And I wish I would have took that approach, but again, I was a little too ambitious, and I was rushing. I was rushing. I was like, I want to get this done, because I had tested everything out. You know, I'd put together all the arcade controls. I tested the Raspberry Pi and everything, and I'm like, this is awesome. Now I just need to build this cabinet. And I built the cabinet, and I was like, I can't get these lights to work. And I think the cabinet sat for a solid 2 or 3 months before I even mounted the lights. And that was even after I put the code in and figured it out. Yeah. You know, with the help of the other gentleman or the other coder. I don't know if it was a male or female.
The gent. All right, so I have some questions written down I want to ask you that are specific. So.
There it goes, _ pull up. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yep.
That's awesome. All right, so a moment ago, like earlier this week, I can't remember what exactly sparked our conversation on just cosmic stuff and just like you sent me that one podcast about like different like stuff that ends the world.
Yeah. What was his name? Well, it's called the podcast was called The End of the World or something like that, and it was talking about existential risks, existential risks
to humanity.
To humanity, yeah. And one of the things that like really like drew my interest, because I was listening to a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he had the host of The End of the World on his show, and they had mentioned it, and I really enjoyed that episode on Star Talk, I believe it was on, and I was like, all right, let me give this a listen, and it's like a 10-part series, and he opened up with the Fermi paradox, and for everyone that thinks for those of us that believe there's aliens out there, maybe the Fermi paradox is what's drawing the source of your disbelief. I'm not saying that there are. I'm just saying that there's. Look at the numbers. Look at how vast the universe is.
Yeah.
And we can definitely go into further with Michio Kaku, with the multiverse.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
with string theory.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of multiverse theory myself.
But the Fermi paradox is quite interesting, and that I think that's kind of what drew me into this whole cosmos thing, is talking about the Fermi paradox. And it's like, well, if there is intelligent life, why haven't we run into them? And just think about it, like, speed of light is fast, and the distance to the next galaxy takes us how many light years? And how far away are we from that? And during a lot of the Star Talk podcasts and all the other, astrophysicists that I've recently gotten into, in our lifetime, a single person's lifetime, because of our biology, it's very unlikely that we're going to be able to see another life form. Intelligent, like, aliens out there can definitely exist. They just may not be intelligent. It can be bacteria. Technically, it's alien. But the other thing that, I really started getting into were wormholes. And the thought, because of Hawking's radiation, is the thought of black holes and then white holes being a wormhole. But the question is it a different universe? Why is it that one would push everything out and the other one pulls everything in? Where does that meet? Like, it's impossible for them to connect because there's something that's blocking them from fully connecting. And obviously, going into a black hole,
I think I don't think
before you'd be able to.
Yeah, well, you're saying like black holes and white holes.
Yeah.
Because a wormhole is something completely different. That's like the way that I've heard it described is like it's like a bubble that forms in space-time, and that sometimes it'll just form like because.
So what do you think a black hole is?
Well, a black hole is just a hyper dense like entity
that tears space and time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's just like
but that's where the concept is. That's where they think that a black hole and white hole, if there is a connection, and Michio Kaku talks about the string theory, the strings that connect.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is like a wormhole is different than a black hole or a white hole. Like they're three different things. The black hole is connected to the white hole, like you're saying that's where it spits it out. A wormhole is like something that rips. It's just like an opening in space time. Yeah. That's like a blip for a second. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who the theoretical physicist or whoever I had to talk that I was watching about it. But essentially, the goal is to find the wormhole and then produce enough energy to keep it open yes. because it's a bubble. It pops. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's
kind of what they're explaining, and they're trying to do it with when they were trying to discover the Higgs boson particle, or reproduce the Higgs boson particle with the LHC, which is the
Large Hadron Collider.
I was thinking of light. Large Hadron Collider, and they're like, we can probably create a wormhole or a black hole. They're trying to. They're like,
that's a fucking terrible idea.
And that was one of the episodes. Is like they're talking about like recreating a black hole, and then that's where a lot of these theoretical physicists were like, oh, it's possible that we can do it without being an existential crisis. And then some of them were like rebutting it, and it's just like,
let's not say we did.
And they were just saying like, but with creating it, if they were to create one, it would be so small yet dense, it would be there and disappear like that.
I don't understand how.
It's because of how small it is. It wouldn't have enough density to start pulling things in. It would just be too weak and just boom. Yeah, it's. I'm no theoretical physicist, but like,
I want to hear. I want to hear the talk because I'm sure there's like a ton of shit that they said before that explains.
Yeah, and like and that's there's not enough time to talk about it on this podcast alone. Like, I probably listened to like at least 20 hours of podcasts, just diving into this.
Yeah. So what are like your give me your like top 5 or top 3 podcasts that you're into right now?
Right now, Star Talk. Unfortunately, I finished The End of the World, but I was really into that, and I'm a big fan of Hot Ones.
Yo, Hot Ones is awesome.
And I think that's when
Hot Ones absolutely inspired me to do this.
When he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on there, that's where listening to him and he's cocky.
Who? Neil?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but he has every reason to be, and that's why I like it.
He's a gangster, bro.
He can back it up. I'm just like hearing him talk. I'm just like a kid, like a deer in the headlights. Like that's a lot of information, but it's so cool. And I sometimes I'll just re-listen to him just because like I want to know more. And like the whole wormhole thing, like I'm digging and digging and digging, but they don't know how to describe or reproduce a wormhole. Like it works on paper, they can't do it though. Now, right now they can't do it.
I don't think they have. They don't have a way to predict where they're going to exist and shit.
Yeah,
because they pop in
how
and
to
out.
Come back.
Yeah,
or what's going to happen when you go through it.
Yeah, like does the wormhole teleport you to another dimension in the multiverse, or not another universe in the multiverse, or another point in time?
Another dimension.
Yeah.
Even. Like my whole thing with.
And then how do you survive the trip?
Yeah, the string theory thing, like, it bugs me out with the fourth dimension, and they talk about the Tesseract, and like we can see like there's a 0 dimension dot. And then another 0 dimension dot that creates a line which is 2-dimensional, and then 4 lines creates or 1-dimensional. 4 lines creates the square which is 2-dimensional, and then 6 of those squares creates 3-dimension, and we could see that. But the fact that we know that the 4th dimension there is a 4th dimension and an infinite amount of dimensions, just trying to wrap our brains and yet the fact that we can't see what a Tesseract looks like. We cannot comprehend what a Tesseract
because
would
we're
look like.
3-dimensional entities.
And that, and then again with intelligent life, one of the cool things with the intelligent life is I think it was Michio that talked about the monkey. There's 1% of the DNA, and how we look at a monkey and we're like, oh, this monkey can learn 20 words, 40 words, or something like that. Not a monkey, but like an ape and gorilla. It can learn like 20 or 40 words, that of a toddler. And we're like, okay, yeah, this monkey's about as smart as a toddler. It's 1% of our DNA. What if we're 1% of extraterrestrial life? And they take, Stephen Hawking, man that we think he's genius, or even Einstein, and they're like, saying to their alien toddlers, like, hey, you just got out of preschool. Look at this guy. He can actually do what you can do, and that's it. Like that to me is just mind blowing. Yeah, that's really cool.
What's your opinion on like the theory that like there's like what do you call it? There's life on Earth due to like it being put here by extraterrestrials, and like we're an experiment, kind of like. You know what I mean?
Well, something similar to that. I think they were talking about that on the. It definitely was. It was the last episode of The End of the World. Was kind of how we have The Sims. It's a simulator.
Yeah, the simulation.
How we are a simulation, and he was just going into the math of like, there is this much percent that we're a simulation just because of the sheer fact that we recreated a simulation. Obviously, there's an origin of the simulator creators, but us being a simulation is just mind-blowing. Do I think that to me is a far stretch? I think that's a little far stretch just because of our ability to feel and things like that. Like a computer program, we don't know how to make a computer feel. We know how to we know how to make it choose, but we don't know how to make a computer feel compassion yet. And that was another thing on that was the artificial intelligence, and I forget what the what it's called, but where it recreates itself over and over and over again, but creates a better version of itself.
Like a replication. It's
like a replication, but there's like a
Doomsday from DC Comics.
Yeah. But Michio talked about that one of the only ways.
Yo, the Gina, shout out, big fan of the podcast. Thank you.
One of the only ways that Michio believes that we can combat that is by his thought of how humans can become immortal is uploading ourselves into data.
Oh yeah, well yeah. So
then we can combat it,
so that we're not just organic entities, but we're technological
post biological.
Yeah.
Yes.
That End of the World podcast. I listened to one of them because you sent it over, and they were saying how there's the ultimate life form would be something like that, where their goal, because computing always has the byproduct of heat, would be to just absorb as much energy as possible.
Correct. Yeah.
For when the big freeze happens for the universe, that they'll have the energy stored so that they can start computing in the most cool, efficient environment possible.
Yeah. And that's kind of how we would become, like, because right now we are like a stage.
So
we're not even
0, 1, and 2.
Yeah.
There's 0,
and then
1,
there's
and 2.
3, which is galaxy.
So I think the way it goes is
0 is just like
stage
nothing.
0 is like exactly like
nothing.
we're just a planetary. Yeah, exactly. Then stage 1 is spacefaring, which we're on the cusp of, and then stage 2 is like a cosmic.
Yeah, like but within a solar system.
Oh, all right, and then the next
system.
one's cosmic.
Third is the galaxy.
Well, I know, like, I guess the solar system one, that's where you inhabit other planets. But I guess the other one would be when you inhabit other galaxies.
Yeah. I think, like, stage, like, the spacefaring would be, like you said, we're on the cusp of like harboring water from asteroids or comets and things like that. And harboring other, organic material from asteroids, not necessarily other planets.
Yeah. Well, meteors, because
asteroids.
Like the meteors are the rocks.
Rocks, yeah.
The comets are the ice, and the asteroids are the fire. Yeah, that's usually the way I remember it. We got another comment here. Yeah, we should. That's for some reason it flagged your comment, but
probably because
you said shit.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out Elon Musk on JRE, no, definitely, man. I saw that a while ago. My favorite Joe Rogan podcast this year just came out a few weeks ago. It's the Snowden one. Highly recommend. It's the most important one that he's done all year.
And I had questioned a lot of it just because I have, like, We
got it. We got into a little fucking dispute about it for sure. Let's go. Let's go.
I can definitely.
Let's have a battle of wits, boy. Let's go.
You definitely have a one up on me because
I was just at B-sides yesterday, so bro, I'm sharp on it. Let's go.
But like, you know, it's my information's out there, man. It's already out there, and the fact that, you know, like, yeah, it's scary for a corporation to have my information and exploit it, but I'm more worried about that black market, like someone taking my information and just, you know, destroying my credit and just my life crashing because there weren't the, you know, like the internet was created for us to communicate to each other, and the thought of these breaches and things like this weren't even thought of yet. You know, like it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think when they created the internet it would get to this level of where we're at now. And I could be wrong, but like I think it was just, you know, just basic forms of communication and
a lot of these
data sharing. I don't think they would think it would get to a form of data sharing.
Well, it's about like the foreshadowing of it, right? So AT&T's been and Verizon, or I think it was Verizon actually, not AT&T, has been storing the phone logs. Is it AT&T?
Since 1987.
Something like that, yeah. So they've been storing the phone logs of all of their customers since then, and they still exist now, right? Mm-hmm. Why does it matter now? Now that you know, why does it matter? What information they have now?
Because they can use that information against you
still.
Now. Yes.
Because your habits change.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you did before. Maybe someone you're associating with now is going to be like a high-profile individual. Mm-hmm. Here's the main concern that I have, right? So, sure, I think you mentioned to me that you don't mind, like, oh, it doesn't matter that they're studying my metadata to throw these ads at me, blah, 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 all this, that, and the other thing. The problem is that they're allowing that metadata to be up on the market.
Yes.
It's just why it's the same reason people like, I know this from experience at my job. Oh, I was browsing ESPN earlier today, and now I have a virus. Of course you do. Because ESPN's homepage has tons of space for ads, and they don't give a shit who is paying for that space and where those ads are going. So
like the political ads.
Everyone's setting it. The political ads are a perfect example. They're gonna pay for your metadata, like, oh, this Matt Ford guy, he likes this, that, and the other thing. Because of these trends that I noticed on his profile, maybe if I promote this post about this political candidate, which is false information, I can poison his thoughts on the election. And that's exactly how the election influencing happened with Trump.
Now, my question here is, and I am very happy with how much you guys know, because, like, jumping into these podcasts, I'm like, how many people know this stuff? Like this is a lot of information, but, you know, kudos to the Gina and Avocado Atrocity. You guys are very, very intelligent with the Kardashev scale.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
yeah, the universe. Cool. Yeah, universe
and
was. So the funny thing about the universe one was Michio Kaku denied, and he had, during one of his conferences, during his speech, a young child about 11 years old kept telling him, "You're wrong." He's like, "No. You're wrong. No. And then they talked about, like, Star Wars, and it was like, yeah, you're right. But back to my question about with the privacy and everything is like, yes, they take your metadata, but like clearing your cookies, like, doesn't that kind of give you like a refresh?
It gives you a refresh, but the problem,
the metadata is saved.
Let me see your phone. Unlock it really quick for me. I swear I'm not going to hack it. This is the problem. I see it on your home screen. The app.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
You installing that app gives them the power to see everything.
To record me.
Yeah.
To record me.
Yeah.
Just like Avocado, they can predict our routines. And the scariest, Kevin.
What's going on, Kevin? You know Kevin Alcala?
No.
The Dominican guy from RHS?
No. Hello, Kevin. I probably know you by name and face.
He used to live with us at LA. But yeah.
And I apologize if it's not jogged my memory.
Right. Here, let me just kind of get us back on track here and just attack this from a different angle. Do you know what's going on in China right now?
With privacy? No clue.
Okay, so let me just give you a really top overview, because I just had a conversation with my buddy yesterday, and it's pretty fresh because of that, because he is Chinese and he's really on top of what's going on. So right now, Hong Kong was under British rule, right? Or British governmental influence. The British have recently yielded this to the Chinese government, and now they're trying to take their communist rule over Hong Kong.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes, I do
but
know
another
about
thing
that.
that's happening is mainland Hong Kong is doing this like social currency kind of thing, where your social status is measured, and people can see how you're measured under the government's rule, and that matters. And another thing that was happening is they're actually going out and taking information that they gather, because there's cameras all over the fucking place, and they can see who's protesting. They're getting these people fired from their jobs for being peaceful protesters. And that to me is insane, because that is a real world example of where this Facebook shit, that they're gathering all this metadata, and they can start rating. Like, you can see it now when you're in a group, like, oh, because you're on this page really often, you're like
a top fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's insane. Or the fact that, you know, I'm a huge offender of it, but, you know, not reading the terms and conditions, and that definitely stems from our current society of instant gratification.
Yeah.
Especially with social networking.
Yeah. Well, and social networking is a huge addiction. Like, even I have it. And that's why I'm really like, the problem that I have with a lot of my friends that I try to have this discussion with is, you're so set in your ways that I can't have this conversation with you. I can't begin to tell you why it's wrong, because you so don't. Snowden said it perfectly at the end of the Joe Rogan podcast, or like in the middle there. You can't wake up people who are pretending to be asleep.
Yeah.
So if you're not open to me instructing you why, and then, like, because first I need to explain the scenario, and then I need to explain to you why this matters. And I'm not Edward Snowden. I don't have the way he conveyed his entire
and I listened to
podcast
it, and it was
incredible. But like what I'm trying to say is, the fact that you can see the social media stuff that's happening now influence us in the slightest ways there, politically, and just all these ads and everything, they're actively affecting the United States already. So if you don't think that what's happening in China is realistically possible in the United States, you're blissfully ignorant.
Absolutely. And I think one of the reasons that I think it's possible in the U.S. is, one, because of social media, because of the regular media. People have completely forgot that our government officials are simply that. They work for us. And people are becoming fans of this senator, that senator, this president, that president. No. No. You're not to be a fan of that. That person works for you. And if you are voting on them because it's a fan thing, you are a fan of them, that's just not the right. Have you done enough research into what they want? Like, I forget who it is. She said, and this is definitely on topic with Veterans Day, and it's something that I hold near and dear to me, is
I'll drink to that.
Veteran suicide.
Oh, dude.
She said within her first half of the first half of her first term of the term, or whatever, she will cut veteran suicides in half. Why not do it now? Why not? Like, why do you have to wait? Like, that's just disgusting to say, I'm going to, I have a plan the first half of my term.
If she's reelected?
No, if she gets the term. Like, if she wins.
Yeah, but what if her argument is, and I'm totally playing devil's advocate.
Oh, yeah,
here.
absolutely.
What if her argument is, I don't have the power now, and to elect me will enable me to use the idea that I have to cut it in half?
That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse.
Why?
Because the power's with us, people. Tell us, this is a plan. Let's push. I may not be in office. I may not be this person or that person. I may not have the power. You, the people, have the power to make it happen. To petition for it. To protest for it. Why are you going to use that as leverage to get elected? That's where it's wrong. You're using it as leverage to get elected versus...
So because they have a plan.
Yeah, versus like, hey, I have a plan. Let's do this. It's within the first half of my term, I can cut this in half. Like, what? Why are you not doing it now?
Yeah.
What?
Like, well, I think maybe to kind of agree with you, I think the best strategy that they could possibly have is to, instead of trying to use that as leverage to like, oh, here's my potentially empty promise and this is why you should elect me, they should be going out of their way and
actively doing it.
Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
This is what I'm already doing, and if you elect me, it's going to give me more power to do it.
I can expedite it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can see where you're coming from with that.
Perhaps
for sure.
they are doing that.
Yeah.
And it was just the way that it was conveyed.
Yeah, 100%.
It sounded like, if you elect me, we can make this happen.
Otherwise, there's going to be more veteran suicides.
Like, yeah.
Balls in your court.
Yeah, and that's where
it's poison, man.
It made me mad, and like maybe I should have. I hate when people just share without reading articles. I didn't have it in me to read that article because I was just already infuriated. I didn't share it or anything, but like just reading that kind of just really made me angry. I was just like, I need time to step back from this. And I only saw it this morning, so probably either later today or tomorrow I'm gonna search for it and read more into it, because for all I know, she very well could be taking action, but maybe it's a media spin on words, it's taken out of context or something. Yeah. But it's just.
Yeah.
And again,
if I knew the article, I could talk to it more.
Your civic duty as doing the research, voting, and not because you're a fan. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Well, at the same, I see. We'll definitely grab those, but I think here's my opinion, and you can totally feel free to rant on me with this. And I've already had friends like tell me like this, that, and the other thing why it's wrong, and that's fine. And it's the reason I ask, or I bring it up. But I think it's irresponsible to go vote without thoroughly researching the candidates.
Absolutely. Because
if you're just going to throw a blind vote at things without really understanding, and I'll give you a perfect example. When I went to vote in the presidential election that just passed where Trump won, mm-hmm. They had a thing that you could vote on there. Mm-hmm. And if I didn't do research on it, I would have picked the wrong thing. But it was something to the effect of, this will limit senators to only be allowed to be elected up to age 75. But that was so poorly worded, because the limit right now is 70. Mm-hmm. And you would have extended it 5 years because of the way they worded it.
Only 75. Like,
yeah,
what?
That's bullshit. And so many people probably voted because they were like, oh my God, 75, it's probably 80. Whoa, it should definitely be 75.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they didn't research that shit. And I think it's a problem, honestly, that the government should be leveraging social media techniques to, hey, let me inform the public properly. But, mm-hmm. It goes hand in hand with just...
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I remember in high school, and maybe it's just because of our school district that we went to, there was only 1 year of civics.
Yeah, man.
9th grade. I think that's a little too young to comprehend what's going on. Now, granted, like it started early.
Yeah.
Kudos. But why didn't we continue it? Why were other subjects about history more important than civics?
I think history.
I mean, I enjoy history.
I think history and civics are both equally important, to be honest, because history is bound to repeat itself.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, and we need to understand why it shouldn't repeat itself.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I think like it's insane. Yeah, it is insane. Like I think it should be layered with like civics should be layered with like different political science things, as well as like taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You should understand how to be an adult by the time you graduate high school.
That's one of the things
in
I'm
the United
grateful
States
for the military.
Yeah.
Had I gone to college right out of high school,
like these kids that are
I would
doing
have failed.
that,
I would have failed
yeah,
out
seriously.
right away.
I don't know if I would have failed, but I would have made way worse decisions because I was just uninformed and just young and dumb.
Opening a credit card at 18.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's insane.
Not ready for that.
So at the very least, like the big thing that I like, I'm super grateful for my being in the military, and I will always like advise this to kids that don't have like a path set for them that they're confident with. Like the military is going to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I 100% believe that, despite what you may disagree with, with the government and things, you should definitely have your idea of what's right and wrong before you go into the military, and you should still have your moral code going in. But
they also teach that there too.
Absolutely,
like there's like, you like your comment earlier. They teach you to kill. Like, no, they teach you to make the right decision when it's appropriate. Like there are a vast.
Well, it's not even always when it's appropriate, right?
ROEs, there's rules of engagement.
Absolutely.
Like
there's definitely ethics, but how many times have you heard about war crimes? And it's not like the United States are the only ones that do that.
Absolutely.
In fact, I think we follow for the amount of action that our military takes. It's like a Bill Burr's thing on Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods is actually probably one of the most faithful guys ever, because he has millions of chicks trying to sleep with him. And he makes one decision to sleep with one girl, and now that's not his wife, and that's terrible. The United States spends millions. We have the biggest military in the world, and of course there's going to be some collateral damage, but we're saving so much more than we're doing damage. So
and we're trying to end the evil, not the innocent. It's not
intentional.
It's not the 70s. Coming home and, I don't know if we were alive and in the military at that time and we were able to come back home, being treated that way, dude. Think about that. You put your life on the line despite whatever the conflict was, Vietnam and everything. To come back and be treated that way,
dude, you're fighting for these people and they don't respect you. It is insane.
And even when this current conflict happened, there was
there's countless
misunderstandings of why we were there. That the comment, we're there for oil and this and stuff, and it's like, dude, there's a war raging between their own people.
Yeah,
I mean, since religion started.
Yeah. The oil thing is legitimate, though.
Yeah, but that's not the only that wasn't the only reason we were over there.
Absolutely not. Well, the big thing that I don't really want to go super into this, and we have a fuck ton of comments here too. But
especially
but the thing people need to understand is it's a proxy war. What's going on in the Middle East? It's really a war between militaries. Russia, China, and the U.S. are helping. But whatever. I don't want to go too crazy into that. Jeez, bro, look at all these comments. Hacky Sack King.
Well, wait. With the arming terrorist, I don't like to assume, but I'm going to assume.
Let me go down this really quick.
The Taliban? Because
the Taliban.
Before that, we were helping them protect themselves against Russia.
Yeah.
And then they turned their backs. So.
Let me see.
We got stabbed in the back is what happened there. But I guess we're Tony Stark here. Stark Industries.
There's Kevin, so to touch on what you're saying about the Chinese thing with there being protesters that are not peaceful.
There's always going to be that.
You're gonna have shitty people in everything, man. There's no one group of people has 100%. What do you call it? The Aryan race. There's no perfection between 100% of any demographic of people. You can't profile everyone. If you need to understand that what the Chinese government is doing to the people of Hong Kong is it's vile. It is. It's vile, and it's just it's a war on humanity. Or it's just like a crime against humanity, in the sense that they just really don't agree with capitalism at all, and they're just overtaking this. And the thing that sucks is the rest of the world can't do anything about it. There's going to be innocent people in Hong Kong that die as a result of this, and that sucks. That's just my feedback on that. We fund the government for the please. Let me see. Man, there's so much. Legal.
Very involved, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Literally stealing serious oil right this second. Oh man, I'm not even gonna get in on all that, bro.
Next topic.
Yeah, for real.
Sorry.
Right.
Well, perhaps we can get back to this.
That's some legitimate stuff. If you can ask a specific question, I don't want to touch on just because there's so much going on here.
It is very broad.
Yeah, you're giving a really broad conversation topic. If you want to ask specific questions for me and Matt to engage, we can do that.
Let's build off of the oil and different forms of energy and back to the cosmos and I really like these.
Shout out to my mom for making
this. Is
those,
really
actually.
cool. I saw this and I was like, oh, this is gonna go great with our
theme of our episode. Yeah. So yeah, let's
harnessing the power.
Well, let me touch on something quick because
okay.
I pulled up this question. I didn't even get to touch it because I just kind of went on the over.
Yeah.
I wanted to introduce why this question's relevant. So, what you were saying moments ago, about just the wormholes and the type, up to 5 civilizations and stuff here.
Yeah.
My question that I was thinking of, I was actually leaving work and I was like, oh, this is a perfect thing to ask, Matt. Why do we care what is going to happen millions of years from now, right now, as we're discussing these things? Why do we worry about cosmic things that we can't even affect? Why are we worried about that stuff when we have no power over those things to begin with? As we currently exist right now, sitting on this bus in Pennsylvania, on planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy.
They've definitely touched base on this in those podcasts. I think it's important that if we want to discover intelligent life, whether it be us or our generations, the generations after us, that we be involved now. So they had... Neil deGrasse Tyson had, I'm terrible with names, but she's involved with with Voyager 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one where they just reached Saturn. With a mission where they reached Saturn, and she was expressing that if we want to reach these levels where we can harness energy from, to become these greater civilizations, so that way we can. It's all about survival. Why do we reproduce? Why do animals reproduce? It's about survival. We know we have a finite amount of time here. We may not know what's going on. Perhaps we do reincarnate as something else. And if that is the case, why would we not be invested? I think it's the probability of what we can know. Can we come back? Can our minds be digitally input into a server, and we can become a civilization 2, 3, 4, and 5? Mm-hmm. Why would we not, if our existence depends on it? Maybe not ours right now, this second, but our future generations. Why would we not be invested in it? Why would we not care? I think it's important to care. There's that silly asteroids going to hit the Earth in 5 days before Christmas thing going around. I'm like, that's silly. Because
is that happening right now? Is that a meme that I'm missing or something?
It was like this. It was like an article, and it's like NASA scientists are predicting this, and it's just like, well, number one, I don't think we have enough information on it right now, because it also said it's going to reach Earth's orbit, and then it said it was going to hit Earth with 5 days before Christmas or whatever, and I was like, Well, if that's the case, it'd be headline news right now anyway. Not only that, I've been listening to all these podcasts with these astrophysicists. Not one of them brought it up. You think if that was happening, don't you think they would be talking about that? Like, hey, this is happening. This is what we're planning to do to stop it.
Yeah, someone would be talking about it.
We would be like, divulging into these podcasts. One of these astrophysicists would be like, oh yeah, and by the way, there's an asteroid gonna plan its trajectory is going to hit Earth 5 days before Christmas. That's just fucking stupid.
So let me ask you something quick. Really small, simple question. Hard answer.
Okay.
What is the meaning of life to you?
To me.
Like, what has your life told you up to this point? Like, how do you define the meaning of life? Whether it's for yourself or just, the human race or all life on Earth. Or all life all over the entire multiverse. Just kiss it.
Just kiss it. It's a very, very, very simple question. Very, very difficult answer.
Don't worry about them. Come on.
I'm trying to use a lifeline. Final answer.
It's like, there we go. Matt's pulling one of those. Let me just do my homework here.
I think it's really. I think life is just about going on. It's just go on. We're like, yes, do what we can for those that are going to come after us. We know what our struggles are now. What can we do to better benefit them? Like I said, we're only here for a finite amount of time. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. Am I right?
Yeah, I'll drink to that, baby.
But at the same time, it's just to keep going on because and it's relevant too, dude. Like it's so relevant. The meaning of life to me is very different to all of our listeners, to you. It's just, yeah. Remember about that. What does it mean? What is the meaning of life for you?
I think it's relative, kind of like what you were saying. I think because for me, I have a son, right? Mm-hmm. So 100% I resonate with what you said about to go on. It's about, spreading your genetics to the next generation and ensuring their survival so that they can continue as well. But some people don't want kids at all. So I can't relate to that with that question. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but maybe your to go on is to inspire the next generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe
I can't help.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe you have this one thing, like maybe you're the holder of Excalibur and you need to find the next worthy wielder or something like this. You know what I mean? It's it's relative.
Yeah. Passing on like I said, passing on what we know now, what our struggles are now, and how we can make it better. We may not have the answers, but this is what we do have. Maybe your generation and the generation after you can get closer to the answer for that. Now, what is the end all be all answer to life? I don't know. That is way beyond my reach because I'm only here for a finite time.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'll drink to that.
All right.
I'm looking for
nihilism.
looking for things that have a question mark at the end here. Why should we care about life? Nihilism 101. Lol. Life has no inherent meaning. Yeah, man. All right, so here we go. What is the purpose of the planet Mercury? That's not an answerable question, bro. The purpose of planet Mercury in the scope of being on Earth is to have.
There's a balance for where our planet is positioned
in the solar system. Exactly.
So with listening to these podcasts, there's belief that Venus could have potentially been in the golden zone, the Goldilocks zone
of where life could have been.
Of where life, yeah, it's the idea of where life is capable of existing. And as the scientific field goes on, they're learning that this Goldilocks zone is becoming this, and this, and it's like there is no Goldilocks zone. Because we are made of so many particles,
yeah,
and these particles are just rearranged in so many different ways, and what what could they be?
I think maybe it's like this. I don't think there is no Goldilocks zone.
Absolutely.
Because I'll tell you right now, nothing here on Earth is at all capable of living on fucking Mercury.
Yeah.
Venus, though, we have life forms like at the bottom of the ocean that are like living off of the Earth's fucking volcanic, you know what I mean, heat. And that is insane heat that nothing on the surface level of the Earth can handle.
Bacteria.
You know what I mean?
Certain types of bacteria.
Well, just like what are they? The tubey boys. I can't remember what they're called.
Like the nematodes?
No.
Nematode, like worms?
No, they're like, I don't even think they're plants. But it's crazy because there's no sunlight down there. So sure, there's shit that could...
Like a sponge of some
I guess maybe it's a kind of sponge. I'm not a biology major, so somebody help me.
My fiance would probably definitely know. She was in that. But yeah, to avocado atrocity, I would think that the purpose of planet Mercury is to keep the balance of our solar system. Without that, like, when I was listening to what they being the astrophysicists and many other scientists out there and theoretical physicists say, is that Jupiter and Saturn are the reason why our planets are aligned to where they are.
Yeah, the gravitational pull in that slight perfect place.
If any planet deviates ever so much, it could throw so much out of whack. We could potentially get pulled into their orbits. Because like Saturn has like over 40 moons. Some of them larger than.
Is it Saturn?
Saturn, yeah.
Neptune?
Saturn. Saturn has
Neptune
has over 40.
Which one
moons.
has Titan? Is that Jupiter?
Jupiter.
Yeah. And that's another one where it's so far from the sun, but because of the gravitational pull of Jupiter, the pressure going on in the planet means there's liquid water.
Yeah, underneath the surface. Yeah. And
why don't we drop some fucking frogs and some whales in that shit and make some fucking make some Pokemon 2 million years from now?
Is it Titan? I think it's Titan, where it's water, but then it's a liquid state, but it's a metal.
Which one?
Or it's not a metal. It's definitely a gas that's in a liquid state, but
is that on Jupiter? It's methane.
Methane.
You're talking
yes.
about.
It's methane. Yeah,
methane,
and when it rains, it's
or whatever.
Yes,
yeah.
it's acid rain. But
and that's insane to conceptualize how cold it needs to be for methane to exist in a liquid state.
Yeah.
Why does Mercury or life need a purpose? Does purpose bring intent? Man, all right, we're getting philosophical.
Yeah,
baby.
we are.
All right, let me read that. Let me read that one more time.
So wait, before we do that, the last thing I heard on one of these these astrophysicists podcasts was that Michio Kaku brought it up, was that there has been an issue with bringing where philosophers are trying to be scientific and scientists are trying to be philosophical, and they're two totally different things. One thing is about the intent and this and that. Physics is science
is the what, and then the psychology is the why.
Philosophy is the why.
Yeah, the philosophy, exactly.
Well,
let's read the question again and try to answer this really objectively, right? Why does Mercury or life need a purpose? Well, things don't need a purpose unless
there's cause and effect.
Well, unless they're sentient, right? Or maybe not even if they're sentient, but
like a camera has a purpose.
Yeah,
it's to record.
It's designed like you could even. I'm looking at this tree right here. This tree is designed its entire existence to come out of the ground and soak in as much light in an effort to grow and drop its seed and reproduce.
Yeah.
So life
to continue on.
Life doesn't need a purpose; it merely has
a
one.
Purpose. Yes.
Mercury doesn't need a purpose; it merely exists.
One. Yeah. And it's the same thing. Just like was it Kevin or was it Avocado? Did Avocado say?
Doesn't purpose bring intent?
It just is.
Yeah,
it just is.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to.
And I don't think there's a philosophy behind Mercury's existence. There is a scientific purpose to it.
Mercury was here before the question why. You know what I mean?
And we could play toddler all day and say why, why, and again, curiosity is the reason our civilization is where it is.
Yeah.
So.
But that's awesome. Let's go into. I have another question for you right here. What is your opinion of Elon Musk's plan to inhabit Mars?
I think it's smart. I mean, given the existential risks, I don't think it's a bad idea to want to inhabit another planet. Do I believe it's going to happen within our lifetime and maybe the lifetime after us? Probably not. But it's again what we talked about. My thought process of what the meaning of life is to continue on. If we know that our sun inevitably is either going to explode or it's just going to simply die, it's probably going to explode because it is a solar sun. There's only a finite amount of time. Long time, probably 5 billion years to go is what they're predicting. But within 5 billion years, is that step to get to Mars going to be enough to push us to get to another galaxy, to further prolong our life?
I'm a big fan of doing stuff now in an effort to pay it off in the future.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think because we have the technology to do it, I think that's a great idea. So let me ask you this, right? If SpaceX came to you and said, "Hey, we saw your military background. We noticed you're really handsome and you have good genetics. We want you to go to Mars, to colonize Mars." Would you do it?
My answer is going to be very similar to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Send your mom first and bring her back safely. Then I'll go.
Send your mom. Guy sends his mom.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
So that comment came about because Musk wants to commercialize space travel. Sending people to the moon and commercialize it. And kind of like with aircraft, commercializing sending people to different continents.
Well, let me say this though, just because I just realized this, and I was kind of just I thought you were gonna just say something, and you're actually going on a thing. So, the Mars trip is a one-way trip.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they're not planning on. Well, the plan is to eventually make a launch pad there that can,
go back and forth.
Be an efficient way to get here and there and back and all that, this, that, and the other thing. But what I'm saying is, like, that guy's coming to you and saying one-way trip. But you can go on the tangent of the commercializing space. Like, sure,
if it was commercializing, I'd say send your, my answer would be very.
Yeah.
It would
no,
be
you're
Neil
going
deGrasse
as a
Tyson.
colonizer.
You're
going on Columbus's boat. And you're going to America, and you might not make it back.
So I am part of the test subject to make it happen.
Yeah, like we know you're competent enough. Like we can see your skills. We know that you are a capable human being, and that you can learn whatever you need to, and you can help, grow fucking potatoes out of poop like Matt Damon on.
Martian, yo, that was a good
loved
movie.
That movie. Dude,
that was really good.
That was the best space movie that came out in the last 10 years. What do you think? Everyone says Inception. I'm like or not Inception. Interstellar.
I haven't even seen Interstellar.
What? Get out of here!
I want to see it.
Didn't you have a poster of Interstellar in your room?
No, not me. No, that was not me.
Dog, I have it back here. I got it from the Hilger house.
That wasn't me.
Oh my
maybe
God.
Brad, the other Brad.
Maybe.
Or
Matt over here covering up his tracks, getting posters for movies he ain't even seen.
I've never watched Interstellar.
So
I
Interstellar.
haven't even seen Gravity, and they shit on that movie so hard.
Oh, they do, dude. They say some rough things. I thought Martian was a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, and it may not be scientifically correct, but still, like it was...
No, it was, dude. I think which one? I think Neil deGrasse Tyson was the one that said it was the most scientific movie to come out. Like,
yeah,
it was the best one as far as being factually
accurate.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I almost cried in that fucking movie, bro.
But yeah,
God. I was choking back the tears like, oh God, he's making it back, man. Oh my God, it was touching.
To answer your question, I think it really depends on where I am in my life
right now. A week from now.
A week from now,
the black car pulls up, the black SUV knocks on your door.
I would have to say no because I don't feel confident that I've provided enough here. I merely did not provide enough here. I provided enough for those directly impacted by my decisions right now, but I haven't done enough globally to be like, all right, yeah, hey honey, I got to do this. You know, like I don't think I'm ready because of that. I didn't do enough because I think had I done enough for the world, I think it would be easier for those around me to accept that, and then for myself to accept that. All right, I'm not going to be on planet Earth ever again. You know what I mean? Like, at this moment, no. Several years down the line, if I make some great discovery, you know, just say, you know, my curiosity peaks even more, and I get involved in the science community, and I mean, like, there was one point in time where at work, you know, during my lunch breaks and stuff, I was trying to reteach myself trig and stuff, just because my curiosity peaked again. I was like, oh, I like this math stuff. Let me give this a shot again. So, who knows? Maybe one day I will harness some drive to get into the scientific community because I have the current curiosity right now. Maybe that'll grow,
manifest into something.
Yeah,
bigger,
exactly. Yeah. And if you know, if it's like, hey, you've done enough for the planet now, like you've created a foundation that helps us, you know, like what Robert Downey Jr. wants to do with, you know, nanotech, with, you know, removing plastic from the oceans and stuff like that. Like, yeah. Absolutely, I would love to go to Mars to help, you know, lead us to the next frontier. Mm-hmm. You know, so maybe.
You know, you want to know a theory that I have?
What's that?
There's like thousands of people in line to go, right? Mm-hmm. I think right when they land, two people are going to, like a male and a female, are going to try to bang immediately because they're like, I want my kid to be the first Martian.
Yeah. there's two more cats out there. Oh, 3 cats. There's about to be a cat fight.
Catting it up. Well, let me mention this too, dude. You should check this out. This is the Berks County Astronomy Club. I don't know what the last 3 things. Okay. You should look into that. How often do you go to the planetarium?
It's embarrassing, dude. And my fiance is like, what? I have never, in my 28 years of my life, been to or inside the Reading Public Museum.
But you've been to a planetarium.
I've never been to the planetarium.
This motherfucker. We're going next week. We're making a date.
Okay.
We're making a date. I'll bring Gavin because he loves going.
Okay, and then I'll have to bring my nephew.
Let's go.
I've never been to the planetarium.
Pinky swear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
he pinkied on it, guys.
Okay, I'll have to open up my calendar. Yeah, I want to go. And maybe I have in my youth, like in elementary school, and it's just one of those field trips I don't remember. Yeah. Because again, you know, I've succumbed to being the cool kid, and
I can't believe I've never gone there with you. I go there all the fucking time. That's crazy. Yeah, we're going.
Come to think of it, probably in elementary school, but that's probably the last time, if that is so.
All right, we got a question. Brad, are you a vet as well? Yes, I am a former soldier in the United States Army National Guard.
He's a National Guardsman.
Hooya? Nah, hooah.
Hooah, yeah. Hooya, I think is
that's Navy.
Air Force.
I almost said oorah. No, it's Navy. Hooyah.
Is it Navy?
Yeah.
Yeah, oorah, Marine Corps.
Yeah. Hooah. That's what we say.
Have either of you seen night sky when it's truly dark outside? Seeing Yes. When I was doing my deployment workup, 29 Palms, that was some truly talk about some vast desert. There was no light pollution whatsoever. It was just as dark can be. I was just like, and standing fire watch, like, nobody likes to stand fire watch, but you do what you got to do. Out there, it was just like, it was. And even in Japan, one of my platoon commanders, I was on night watch, and me and the other guy were doing patrolling around our bivouac area, and our platoon commander was outside. He goes, "Would you look at that sky?" And we looked up and we were like, "That's impressive." Just and and like, of course, oblivious me, it's like, "Oh, these are just stars." So those are galaxies, man.
Dude,
I didn't. That didn't until now. Again, just trying to be the cool guy in the platoon and everything. I didn't have that curiosity to dive deep into the cosmos. I was like, "Oh, dude, just a bunch of stars. This is really neat." Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, dude, I was looking at galaxies.
Yeah. Have you ever stared for like
absolutely
well, I've been up there, I've seen even I've been in Alaska and I saw the aurora. Highly recommend.
I want to see that.
Let's go. I know.
I've been to Alaska during bright.
Yeah.
It was like 3 a.m. when we landed. I'm like,
for what you were deploying?
It was because we had to go there first.
That's interesting. But yeah, so that's where you shipped out of to go to Japan. I guess that is pretty close. That's interesting. The more you know.
The closest, it's the furthest west point of the United States. Not the CONUS, obviously, but of the United States.
Well, one of the things, I remember when I, in Pennsylvania, actually, was one of the moments where it was north. Mad Dead as well. I was with Gideon, a guy in my band. You know him.
Yeah. Irish lad.
Yeah, quite. But we were looking up at the sky, and he was just saying, because he grew up around that area, and he was near Hawk Mountain, and it's really dark out there too. So we were just looking up, and he was explaining to me what's cool about it is, the longer you look up, the darker, your eyes adjust, and you can start seeing more and more stars.
They start to populate.
And when you start seeing more and more, that shit is insane. That is like an acid trip. Not that I would know, but it's cool, incredible, man.
Is
highly recommend. Look at the stars.
The speed of light, though. This is light that has been emitted billions of years ago. This is light that is older. The light that is reaching us now is how old from the sun. This light is not from 24 hours ago. No. It's not from right now. This is from however many light years, I don't remember. You can probably Google it.
Yeah. Well, this is a theory I've had, right? I kind of wrote this down. I have a book of
theories.
I
like that. Well, you're gonna have to share those with me.
Yeah, I could flirt with you. It's more like concepts for if I had the money to make short films, if my podcast ever tip me, super chat. Give me.
We'll have to start
get in my Patreon.
We'll have to start up one of those
Kickstarters.
GoFundMes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But one of the things I had was so you have this kind of like the Berserker probes from that chat or not that podcast you sent me, right?
Yeah.
They're going out and destroying other planetary what do you
systems.
Call it? Well, just organism or life form stuff, right? So I had this thing where the concept is let's say Neil deGrasse Tyson is looking through the telescope and he notices whoa, that's so weird. This star,
Thank you for that 8 minutes ago.
This star looks like it's funneling out, and a week from then, the star that he was looking at is fucking gone.
Yes.
And then in a week, he realizes, holy shit, something ate that star. And then a day after that, he realizes the thing is on its way here. We are so outdated. They've been traveling here for billions of years. And that light of what happened there is only just getting to us. And they've been on their way right behind that information.
Yeah.
Yo. Get at me, Steven Spielberg. Get at me.
Deep stuff.
Yo.
You might want to,
Yo, you can't super chat because I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet, which sucks. So if you guys want to share this video out, I think, honestly, Matt, this is one of the cooler, deeper, crazier, like.
I think it's our friendship. We've been friends.
Yeah. God. We're going super into the ether here with these conversations.
Years going on.
Yeah, man. I think right. 2006 probably 2006, when we met.
Absolutely. They say you can last 7 years. It's a lifetime.
Yeah, I'll drink to that, homie. Yeah, man. Share this around a little bit. Help me get those subscribers, because I'm trying to put out better content here. I'm trying to get a permanent location that don't have crazy cats outside that'll distract Matt. But yeah,
I'm easily distracted.
Yeah,
if
same.
you cannot tell.
Same. But yeah, let's kind of get back on track here, baby. I don't want to distract too much here. Let me just make sure I don't have any other questions up there. Bam. Awesome.
What is super chat? I'm sorry, I'm new to this.
Oh, it's like a tip. It's like a tip on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, super dope. I'm about to start live streaming on Facebook instead, because I think you don't need that. But anyway, I don't know. I liked YouTube a while ago, and man, I'm not even gonna get into it. But I
wouldn't be saying that right now, considering we're using it.
I mean, man.
Before they boot us.
Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, boot me now. It's just crazy how the policies change on all these different sites so often. I'll just mention like right now too. Like we stopped streaming on Twitch, because they're just super stringent about so much different stuff.
Oh, like that.
So we started
girl rolling on, was it her cat, her dog, and accidentally exposed herself. Like she got booted. She banned completely from Twitch.
From doing what? What did she do?
She was playing with her pet. Just rolling around, petting her pet, and slightly exposed, not on purpose.
What, her boob came out?
Other regions.
Oh.
And not to the point that you can tell either. It's just like, I guess people were complaining about it, and it's like, dude, like,
it's insane that you can get flagged for such stupid stuff, right?
It's like
and it's literally like people that are, I don't want to say like the haters, but honestly, that's what it is, man. Like if you're going out and snitching to Twitch that I said like the F word or something, because I'm like, fuck, I fucking lost. Like, dude, I'm playing a game like passionately. I'm trying my best and I'm trying to entertain y'all.
Yeah.
Eat a dick, for real.
It's like me playing Neo.
Yeah.
I just downloaded Neo because it's free off the PlayStation
but the same thing, bro. Like, have you seen? Where's the sticker? It's not even up in here.
Which character?
The Duck Zuck.
Oh,
you've seen it,
Oh,
right?
I have it.
Well,
I have it at the house.
yeah. So like, I don't have it right here, but maybe I don't have one in here at all. Anyway,
he said on accident.
Yeah. Yo, but we stream on Facebook now, but that's like a meme I have is making fun of Mark Zuckerberg. You know what I mean? Like, Facebook.
How often have you been flagged because of that?
Dude, never. Well,
Really?
Facebook is just like you're seeing titties and ass and like crazy fucking bar fights and ridiculousness happening on Facebook all the time, and that stuff is just content censored or shadow banned instead of actually getting flagged. I think what Twitch is doing is it's like Nazi stuff, man. It's like, it's not cool. You're really shitting on freedom of speech. Sure, when you have a platform, you should censor certain things because you have kids on there, obviously, on Twitch, you know what I mean? But you should just enforce, like, yo, this is an 18-plus thing.
Yeah.
To actually ban me from your platform because I'm saying things that won't get me arrested, get the hell out of here, dude.
And
that's
it's like,
bullshit.
And maybe it also goes down to, parents being parents. Parenting your children.
Man.
Actually parenting your children.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like why are there so many young kids playing GTA?
Oh, my God.
But then you want to complain about XYZ. They dropped the F-bomb. Where do you think they learned it from?
Yeah.
You're letting them play GTA.
For real, yo. Tommy Vercetti is not your fucking role model, let me tell you.
Oh, my God. That and, dude, Dakota Meyer on the Joe Rogan podcast said it straight. That's kind of where I got that from.
Who's Dakota Meyer? Is that
the Medal of Honor recipient?
Oh, damn. I fucked up by not knowing that.
Yeah, Marine Corps Medal of Honor recipient. And as you know, for Marines, I don't know why it's so hard. Maybe because it's expected to be like, throw yourself before, Yeah, I see more and more Army soldiers, getting the Medal of Honor and all that stuff than you do Marines. But off of that tangent. But he goes on to say how desensitized we are today to violence. They sell violence on television. That's what television is. It's selling violence. Think about that, dude. Like,
yeah, I mean,
because
well,
Joe
dude,
Rogan was talking about
sex and violence sells. Like that's like
yeah,
the
but
thing,
so
you
like
know?
Joe Rogan was talking about these two actors and the guy who was producing and directing his movie, and I guess he this actor, producer, director had told the woman, oh, like we're trying to really sell this movie, real fellatio, like really performing fellatio, and it ruined their careers. But yet we're watching John Wick, hundreds of killings in 2-3 hours.
Yo.
Like, that's okay. But
A blowy's killing it. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't
It's
know.
rated R, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what's crazy, bro? Do you see Joker yet?
You asked me, and I
Oh, yeah.
it's one
I
of the
forgot
things
I
I
asked
need
you.
to see.
It's really good. Yo, let me tell you. So I'm in there with Shayna, right?
Mhm.
Next to us, mom, dad, kid. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? 8-year-old kid probably. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Do you not know what this fucking movie is about?
a very so I listened to a radio show like from when I lived in DC. They're a Baltimore DC radio show, and he was talking about how he got harassed by the host of the show. Got harassed by this woman at 11, 12 o'clock at night. He was chilling in CVS looking for some makeup remover because he got dressed up and stuff for one of his events and whatnot. I guess he was dressed up as a clown or something. I forget what he was dressed up as. But this lady, and she came on the show and she was berating him and all this stuff, and then for 4 weeks in a row just kept calling and calling and calling. And this woman was yelling at him because he at 11 p.m., 12 p.m. had scared her daughter in a CVS because he was wearing this scary makeup. Now, mind you, it's Halloween. This is Halloween, right? And he goes, "Oh, well, I'm really sorry." And he had apologized and stuff. And she goes, you have the audacity to come into such a public place like that after my daughter and I just left the showing of Halloween.
What really scared her, bro? Maybe it's the fact that she was just in panic survival mode after seeing that shit, that anything could scare her, first of all. But
that was
God,
their
bro.
point. It was like, wait, you mean to tell me you took your 6, 7, 8-year-old child, 3-year-old child, whatever, however, to see a rated R Halloween movie? Michael Myers. Dude, I was terrified of Michael Myers till I was 11 years old. Terrified. Leprechaun, whatever. Chucky.
More like 21 years old.
Yo.
Fuck all that, bro. I don't watch horror movies.
She's yelling at a guy that's literally in CVS looking for makeup remover so he can just take it off. This Halloween makeup is water resistant now.
Yeah.
It's designed for you to be out in the
boy.
rain, which I don't know why they canceled Halloween or postponed Halloween this year because of the rain. Because
Softies.
get wrecked.
Softies.
Get wrecked.
But yeah,
How
man.
did we get on that tangent?
I don't even know, man.
It's
Just
it's our relationship here, man.
Yo, man, we just be going ham on it. But yeah, so let me see if I had anything else I wanted to kind of bring up. So you actually, this podcast is kind of like a tribute to Veterans Day being tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Marine Corps birthday. Happy birthday.
Hoorah.
244.
Hoorah, Marines. But
It's my second birthday of the year.
yeah. But yeah, so one thing I kind of wanted to touch on was you just got Sig,
Thank you, Kevin.
What do we got out here?
He's recommending Eyes Left podcast by two vets from Iraq and Afghan war.
Yo, definitely drop the link if you can, man. Drop the link. I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, and then it also shares it for the other viewers. They can copy and paste.
Yeah, no doubt.
Ooh,
you know what's one that? So I was just at B-Sides. It's like a security conference yesterday, and a good friend of mine actually told me about Darknet Diaries. Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
That sounds scary.
There's some scary ones and there's some pretty like dope ones. Like the one that I listened to was the most recent one, and it was about Operation Glowing Symphony, which is about how the first admitted use of cyber attacks on ISIS's media network and how they did it. And it's not that difficult to digest for non-technical people. Like, you would love it.
Okay.
You would love that one. I'll hopefully I remember to drop.
Link.
Yeah.
Send me that link.
Let me do it now before I forget.
And during my internships in DC, I had gone to a cybersecurity event, kind of like the one you were at this weekend.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found most intriguing wasn't necessarily data breaching and all that, because to most people that's maybe not the top priority for security. A lot of the stuff is what's physically on them now. And one of the cool things and scary was like some of these tools that are out there now, where there will be a guy, you're sitting in a parking lot, you just go into Walmart, Target, or wherever. They're sitting in a parking lot and they're just waiting for you to lock your car, because they have a two-person system. One receives the RF signal, and then that bounces it back to the next person so that they can send it out to unlock your car.
Yeah, I have a device called the Keezy. If you guys want to check out,
dude.
If you guys want to check out episode 13 with Brian Tang, where we recap DEF CON, I actually have a link where you can buy this thing if you want. Anyway, the Keezy is an RFID replicator. And
yes, and that's what it is. Yeah.
And I tried it at work, and it works. Like I replicated my key fob.
Okay.
Well, no, I told my internal IT, like, I was like, hey, this is a realistic thing, like, and we actually have different sites that use different technologies where this.
Okay. So this was a controlled experiment at work.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I mentioned it before I tried it, and then I tried it, and
so they were totally okay with it.
Yeah,
and let us know. Give us feedback.
Yeah, I'm that fucking tinkerer guy at work. So the internal IT guy, I'm pretty tight with him as well. So I was like, hey man, I was just at DEF CON. These are some of the toys I got. I kind of want to try this. Do you mind, like, if I give this a shot? Like, I just want to know if it'll work. And he's like, yeah, man, try it out. Okay, cool. So it was crazy.
Just making sure your ground is covered.
Yeah, no, all day, baby. You know me, baby. Yeah, don't do anything illegal. I do not condone that.
Nor do I.
Yeah.
Follow the law.
Yo, Kevin, take care, brother. Yeah, thanks for the recommendation on that podcast. I hope you drop a link to that, because I'll definitely peep it. But yeah, so back to I was saying how you just picked up a SIG.
Yes.
And we got to go shooting sometime. Mm-hmm. Do you want to kind of touch on like the Second Amendment thing? So a lot of yo.
We're gonna be here like another 3 hours, dog.
Yo, so let me touch on something really quick, right? So I saw one of these videos recently, right, where it was like a lady where she said, or it wasn't a lady, it was a dude that like went up to a lady, like it was one of these trolley dudes. It was like, oh, like Second Amendment for the win, or being mad whack. But one of the like best parts of this thing, like it's a total meme until this one thing happened, right? Where he asked a question where he was like, he asked this woman, he's like, so do you think, like, what do you think of the Second Amendment? And he said, oh, I think that all these people should give up their guns. Guns would kill people, blah, blah, blah. So guns are bad. And he's like, oh, like who should take the guns? Like, you think the government should take all the guns from all the people? It's like, yeah, those people shouldn't have those guns. Guns are hurting all these people. Look at all these mass shootings. Like, oh, that's, I guess I understand what you're saying there. But, so if the government takes the guns, you trust the government? She's like, nah, I don't really trust the government. It was like, what? What the fuck are you talking about then? What the fuck are you serious? Are you serious right now? Jesus. But it goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier with the China thing, man. Like, the one saving grace that the American people have against the tyranny here is the Second Amendment, man. The people in China don't have weapons.
Being a veteran, it took me 9 years before I was like, I think I finally need a gun. And not that I thought these guns could handle it, but like, you know, it's just like, I had firmly believed in the Second Amendment, and I was just like, when I'm ready to get one, I'll get one, you know. But I think that the argument against the Second Amendment is just, people don't understand. The people that are arguing for gun control, I don't believe fully understand firearms.
Well, it's obvious that they don't, man.
Assault weapons. Oh, yeah. Assault weapon is a weapon designed to assault people.
That has polymer and a rail system.
A golf club can be used to assault people. It's now an assault weapon. Gun is not. I don't believe in the term assault weapon, assault rifle, assault gun. It's an inanimate object.
Guns don't
the assault is produced by the person with the intent behind the assault.
Absolutely.
I think that's the definition of assault, is there needs to be intent behind it. Am I right? Or I could be wrong.
Yeah, because like there's a difference between like manslaughter and murder or homicide, whatever you what have you. Won't let me post a link.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Inbox me on Facebook or something. Throw it on my page. Throw it on the Bardic, the Brad L. Bard page, or send it on Instagram, Brad L. Bard. My Instagram handle is right here. Right there.
Right there.
Right there. Yeah, send it to me. I'll check it out, brother. I'll let you know what I think. So and you just picked up that SIG, and yeah, man, I don't know. I think it's crazy that these people think that they're so secure without understanding global affairs and how America's first world problems aren't shit.
Well,
compared to a lot of these other countries.
The thing is also is the person that stops, those actions from happening is another person with a gun, whether it's another civilian or an officer. It's still someone else with a gun. Firearm. It's just call it firearm. And I think about it, like places with the most strict gun laws are where a lot of gun violence happens. Why? Because criminals are a criminal because they don't follow the law.
Exactly.
They don't follow the law. Those that are affected by it, negatively impacted by it, are the ones that follow the law. And
yeah, it's crazy. Like I remember when that Louder with Crowder thing came up, where he's like changed my mind on the gun control thing. Like one of the big things that he mentioned there was, how the Australia thing's not a good example. Like when these people were saying like, oh, but like Australia did it, why can't we do it? And just something that you need to understand is, when I know you don't have a gun in your house, now I can break in without worrying that I'm going to die, and I can steal your shit. You know what I mean?
Which is surprising, because Australia is just Texas for Great Britain.
Yo. Bruh. I've never heard it. Yo. That's incredible. Oh, man. That's funny.
I saw that somewhere. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's pretty gold. No, that's solid, man. Yo, so I don't know. Like, is there anything else you wanted to chat about specifically? I think we touched on everything I pretty much wanted to. Even if we didn't get too deep on some of those things, it's fine. We touched on everything.
Yeah, and we can definitely regroup and go deeper into this, especially after maybe you get some messages, like slide in his DMs. Ask some questions about what we talked about. Let us have some time to research and do your own research and see what we can all come up with, because that's in turn how we all learn is learning from what the ideas that other people have, conglomerating it, and then letting our minds just wander, and just productive conversation. That's
Absolutely,
how we learn,
man.
Because I would love to come back and dive deeper into some of these topics, and maybe even brand new topics, and I'm not saying we weren't prepared, but be better prepared about some of these conversations. Maybe centralize one topic, gun control.
Yeah,
or,
I think
cosmic stuff.
I touched on it already with episode 13, where I had the DEF CON guy. We actually printed out an itinerary of what we were going to discuss, like on paper, and we had bullet points. That was the most structured one we've ever done, and it was long because we had so much. We knew we needed to touch on these things. But yeah, man, absolutely. So I think we can probably start wrapping it up. Do you want to kind of give a shout out to anybody, or maybe even touch on like anyone that was in your situation, like growing up? Like, what recommendations do you have for kids that are thinking about joining the military, Marines in the military now that maybe feel like the changes that are going on, which is something we didn't even jump into?
Yeah.
But like, any advice you have for any of these individuals?
Just stay open-minded, man. Like that's where I think a lot of my success now is coming from. Is just being so open-minded. Like, the world is a very confusing place, especially with all that we're learning now, and all these different things, the infinite genders and all that stuff, that's going on. Just stay open-minded, because perhaps we may learn from being open-minded, not so closed-minded. Reach out, use your resources. There are lots of resources out there. Google's your best friend. That's what I use, like, religiously, almost.
DuckDuckGo, though, for real.
What?
That's another search engine that doesn't
okay,
keep your information. DuckDuckGo all day.
Yeah, I just open-minded. Keep that curiosity going, man. Like, curiosities that, like I said earlier, is knowledge's best friend. It fuels your knowledge. Without your curiosity, what do you know? Unless it's fed to you. And are you enjoying that knowledge that you have? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really about it, man.
All right, that's awesome. So, if anyone wants to reach out to you directly, where should they hit you up?
You can find me on Instagram, @VintageMiracle91. I have a Facebook, but it's very private, just because I think I need to keep that circle tight, because that's probably even though Instagram is kind of part of Facebook, but I think Instagram is just Instagram, and I don't have as much available.
That's like your public face.
Yeah, that's what I want you to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, just add me on A Vintage Miracle. I'll add you, and you can definitely DM me there. Other than that, I really don't have many other social media platforms that I use. I need to get rid of that addiction.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Definitely need to manage that. Well, that was incredible, sir.
Thank
you.
you
For coming out.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
God bless America, or Allah bless America.
Yeah, happy birthday, Marines.
What have you? Hoorah. Thanks for everyone that was watching as well. You guys rock.
You.
And take care. Peace.